Hello and welcome to another Game Developers Vlog and update about Copenhagen Crisis. I think you can tell immediately that a few things have happened since I made an update last. There are now more colorful cars, or at least more different colored cars. And much more significant than that, there are pedestrians, uh, other rats running about and crossing the streets here and there. I added that during this last week, using much of the same code as for the cars and just modifying it slightly. They use the same way of moving around as the cars, basically, that they head to an intersection. When they get to it, they choose another intersection which that intersection connects directly to and go there. Now they move a little bit more freely. They don't have to abide by the right-hand drive rule, so they can move in either direction on both sides of the street. And of course, they reference slightly different coordinate points so as to walk on the pavement rather than on the street. They can, however, cross the street wherever they want. Well, not really wherever they want, but whenever they want, I should say. Because they have no physicality to them. They run through each other and through cars at will. I did update the AI for the cars to pay attention to the rats. So although you may see rats running over cars, you won't really see cars running over rats. They are very good at stopping for them. I haven't seen any car running over any rat in several hours of running this version, and I'm quite pleased with that. Those are the updates to behavior and content, game content, if you like. I have also made a few updates to the level editor so that you can now remove any element, any waypoint, any pavement, bush or lawn or whatever. Previously, you could only undo your latest uh, edit. You could remove everything you had done, but you had to do it in reverse order. So if you wanted to change the first thing you put in the level, you'd have to erase all the things you'd put in, which was of course very inflexible as a system. It was never meant to be like that forever. It was just temporary. This is much more flexible, and I've now also added the ability to save a level and load one that you've made. So this is the level that loads in whenever you start the game. And I can modify it as I please, save that, and then that's the version that will load in as you start the game. That's also probably how it will work in the end, when the game will probably just have one big level, one town. Oh, and I'm quite happy with that. It makes it easier for me to, instead of having to recreate a new level every time I want to demonstrate the game. This is much more convenient. So, the things I have left to do before this game can be called finished is really becoming quite a short list. There are only very few significant changes. One is a bit more sophisticated rat behavior, so that they do stop for cars instead of running right over them, like one fellow did right there. And I would like them to pay attention to each other as well, so as not to run into each other, or run through each other rather. And then, of course, perhaps most significant is that there need to be some enemies in the game. I know how I want them to behave, and I know how they should appear. But I haven't coded any of that yet. That's probably going to be the biggest hurdle. After that, I need to code pickups, for example, things like ammunition and health, staples of any action game, and also some mandatory pickups or story elements that you have to pick up, items that you need to collect in order to finish the game, to progress in the story. There's not much of a story, really. There'll be 4 or 5 of those spread out over a rather large area, and you have to collect them. I would like for the game's difficulty to ramp up with every item you collect. It's not going to be a big game, you see, as I've said many times before. It's more of a game development exercise than an actual game. However polished it is compared to my previous efforts. I think you'll be able to complete this game in about 5 to 10 minutes if you've practiced a bit. Uh, but that's fine. And beyond those major things that I just mentioned, there really isn't much more. There's a bit of polishing on several points that needs to be done, chiefly graphical. I want to add more different kinds of cars, maybe a few more different kinds of pedestrians, and other elements in the level, such as I've spoken of before, more bushes and flowers and walls and such to make it more interesting. That's really it. So it's rather a short list of things, and I'm very excited about that. I even started thinking about what I'm going to do next. You know, I'm going to work on a 3D engine next, but I also have a small game program project in mind. Very small, but perhaps interesting and significant in some ways, which I'll talk about in another video. With that, I shan't really um, keep you much longer here. If you're interested in knowing more about what I do here, there are several vlogs to look at about this development on the YouTube page here. There are some links in the description to my webpage and Twitch account and Instagram account, where you can learn more about the game, more about my paintings and my writings, and a few other things as well. I thank you for your attention and wish you a good time of day, and goodbye.